Hi everyone, and welcome to our weekly recording session of our podcast, 学分类学英语 podcast. And I'm very happy to have Steve again. Today we're going to talk about social media. And the reason why I came up with this topic with Steve was that in secondary schools and in actually many different institutes, social media is a topic that often comes up, and teachers or professors will often ask you to discuss the pros and cons of social media. That happens in exams as well, like the IELTS test, the International English test that you guys often take before you emigrate to another country, and the TOEFL test, the American version of the test often test us on our understanding on social media. And it's not like we have to talk about big ideas or academic stuff or academic ideas about social media. It's just common sense that we have to talk about in exam because they are not testing you on your general knowledge. The test is not meant to test you on your general knowledge. They are only meant to test you on your ability to express your ideas. But since we are often asked, like students are often asked to talk about social media in an exam, I figured it would be a good idea to talk about social media, um, how it works, and the pros and cons of it, the advantages and the disadvantages of it, like pros and cons actually means advantages and disadvantages, like in case you didn't know, with Steve. So very interesting topic today. It's social media because I think all of us use it and all of us love it, but we hate it as well. So it's a very controversial thing that we use in everyday life. So, what do you think about social media in general? Like today, we're going to focus on the downsides of using social media a little bit, right? And we're not going to delve into the upsides so much. Rather, we're going to focus on the bad things about social media. So, what do you think is the first bad thing or the disadvantage of using social media or the overuse of social media, Steve?
I think the number one thing I can think of is Instagram. Uh, is that you only see images, right? So all the images you see, either cute cats or cute dogs. People have great bodies that they work out. Or people have like expensive cars. People on a helicopter, or people partying on on a yacht. And those things are, I would say, it's not something that most of us can get all the time. I mean, you can get cats and dogs, but like it's all those very emotional stuff that we see, that we think we want, that we crave for, and it's not
Right.
really reality, right?
Is that right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
CRA.
exactly.
Right. Yeah, it's okay. So basically, Steve, you're saying that like social media has, or the content creators, to be more precise, on social media, or the people who would like to show off the bright side of their lives on social media, they have almost like set an impossible standards for all of us. Like we have to have great bodies, like we have to get ripped, like we have to get very muscular, and we have to get a really cute dog. And in Hong Kong, that may not be possible. There are so many housing estates that don't even allow the keeping of dogs. And we have to get dogs, we have to get like two cats to play with the dogs, and we have to live at mid levels, and maybe we have to hang out with Guilos. We have to, I don't know, like play on a yacht, have a boat party on a yacht, and we have to get a great car, nice car, like Lamborghini, stuff like that, right? So basically, you are saying that, right? Are you a victim of comparison like that, Steve? Do you think?
Oh man, I mean, all of us do, right? And I think the one that I feel the most annoying
Yeah.
is the private jet ones. It's like, who has a private jet? Like,
Uh, but I don't see private jets on my feed. I guess I've
Oh,
unfollowed.
okay.
I I always unfollow people who have private jets. Who the hell have private jets? Like that's so unrealistic and so off the ground. Olay, yeah, there's no point. Like I won't be able to afford it my next life. So why am I seeing it?
And I
I don't.
remember there was a couple. There are a lot of a celebrity or like mediocre star
Yeah,
that they are on a they have a wind like the shot is they have a they're on a airplane. They're inside an airplane and there's like a window and then they're holding like a wine or champagne. It's like with a champagne glass,
yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely.
And the perfect, I think I remember that one. The guy took a picture, a selfie, and people commenting, "Oh my God, like he must be on a private jet or something, right?" And then happens to be somebody else right behind him, recognized this guy and saw his post on Instagram, and this guy took a picture of him in the economy class. So he's actually not on a private jet. He's just on in a economy class seats, pretending he's he's on his private jet having a
Really?
champagne, which is not true.
Is this a true
And
story that you've heard about?
yeah, it is a true story. And the guy who took a picture put the whole picture of him sitting in economy class with other people and trying to take that picture holding, drinking a champagne.
The
So
story
that
that
was hilarious.
Yeah, the story that you mentioned reminds me of a Netflix series called, I don't know, Changing Anna or Pretending to be Anna. I don't really know. Okay, let me check the name of the series name. The name of the series, Inventing Anna. Like basically, it's like everyone is creating a false identity on social media to show others how well I live and how luxurious of a life I'm living. Um, and like that is just a classic example of how like the lengths that people will go to show that they are like leading a glamorous life. Um, yeah, like who drinks champagne?
And it's so sad that sometimes you hear people fall off cliffs because they want to do a selfie in a tourist area that is very dangerous. And they walk off like on the edge and they take a picture and they fell off. And also people do parkour. Parkour, it takes a long time to practice. And a lot of time they get into accident. And sometimes, unfortunately, if the stunt is too dangerous, there's no going back, right? So it gives people a false impression. It's like a false impression of, oh, I can do it too.
That's sad, and like there are always people who will like underestimate the difficulty of doing something, right? And they
Yeah,
might be doing that thing like there may not be like a huge proportion of people like that in the society, but there will always be those people who underestimate the difficulty of doing something or the danger of doing something, and then they end up doing it themselves, and
exactly.
they end up injuring themselves and even
Exactly.
worse, killing themselves. Like there are people like that, and
Yeah.
in the case of the champagne, like pretending to be a business class passenger, like an economist, an economy class passenger, like pretending to be a business class passenger. In that case, like he or she might not really be endangered from doing it, but he or she is still spending extra money to pretend to be someone that he's not. And yeah, it's just really costly to live this way. And it's just really tiring to live this way and to actually manage the avatars online. Um, yeah, like it's crazy, isn't it?
And just a quick thing to follow up with that is I used to be a photographer,
Yeah.
and a lot of social media gurus, especially the models type, and actually they have a photography team behind them, but you don't see them there. So they're pretending that they're taking a selfie, but it's not a real selfie. It's like they prepare for like an hour for like a full makeup, find the right angle. They have a team to look for the right street corner to take that picture. So it is a job, you know. It's not somebody that it's like us, you know, that we you just take a great picture. It happens to be like that. No, that's not true.
Yeah.
It's
So
most of them are professionally made.
yeah, basically we are talking about the fact that like there are many people who are showing off intentionally or not intentionally the bright side to life. Uh, like in on social media, it looks like everything is so easy, everything is a breeze. Everything is a breeze. It's a very nice idiom to like describe that everything is easy. 好似好簡單嘅所有嘢。And when you watch social media, it's as if uh, you're wearing the rosy glasses and everything looks fine and nice and like everyone is enjoying the niceties of life. Everyone is drinking champagne. Everyone is on yachts and like I think that was actually way more serious. I think a few years ago. Like these days, we are all favoring rawer or a more authentic kind of sharing on social media. I think these days, and often we watch news on social media. Like I myself, like there are full of news feed. Like my feed is actually full of news. I don't actually look at beautiful girls. Maybe that's not the case for men. I don't know, but I don't look at beautiful girls. I don't look at yacht. I don't look at private jet. But we are basically saying that like people show off their wealth and show off um, how nice their life can be on social media. And I actually posted the key phrases on uh, on the comment section, so you guys can go check it out. They are creating a false identity, not sense identity. They're creating a false identity. Let me change that. They're creating a false
False sense of
identity,
identity. You can say that too. We can say that too. False sense of identity. We can also say that.
and they are creating an avatar for themselves. 即係好似一個 avatar. I'm not sure how to translate that. 即係話好似一個假嘅人咁樣樣啊，即係 avatar. It's a
In
pretty
English, yeah, in English we sometimes call that an alter ego.
alter
Alter
ego.
ego is yeah 係你想做嗰個人，你好想去做嗰個人，咁但係其實嗰個係 part of 你，即係你嗰個係你嘅一部分嚟嘅啫。
It's a very it's a pretty technical term, I must say.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I see this word in synopsis, in film synopsis, where they talk about like Spider-Man and Batman, right? They have an alter ego, and the alter ego for Bruce Wayne is Batman, and the alter ego for Spider-Man for Peter Parker is Spider-Man, like stuff like that, right?
Exactly. And
So we
I
talk about
met a guy. I remember I met a guy. He does a lot of traveling Instagram, and
yeah,
he tried to be a professional. But when we talked, he was like, "Oh man, I'm so depressed because I thought I could follow my dream, right? That term, follow your dream. I could follow my dream. I travel all the time, but he said he's like very miserable. First of all, his income is not very stable, and after a while, when you travel like that, you become like, oh well, it's just another scenery. It's just another place, and he has to do. Let's say the hard work is 90% of the time, right? Like you have to plan your trip, you have to save up money, or you have to talk to the people who email you, communicate with your fan. Like that's 90% of your job. So you thought your job is 90% of the time you just travel, right? But the reality is 90% of it you're just like an office worker.
yeah, definitely. I think what you're talking about is the life led by so many influencers online. They are they are again creating avatar for themselves, creating like branding themselves online and building an audience, building a following online. And you think their life is so fine and dandy, but they actually inside they're hollow and they don't feel satisfied from what they do. And that, I think this is the life led by a small, like basically a small minority of people. I don't think like the vast majority of people in our society are influencers, but influencers are like contributing to this like trend of sharing what is beautiful in your life. And like they are not even happy doing it. They may think that they would get happy from doing it in the first place. They might think that in the first place, but it turned out that they couldn't. So yeah, which is very interesting. And so let's move on to the second bad thing about social media. We talked about like showing off. We talked about being an influencer. Uh, and we haven't talked we have talked touched on comparison a little bit. Like we compare ourselves to these influencers, and we compare ourselves to beautiful people who have given birth to like multiple children who still look the same after giving birth. Like we have touched on that a little bit. Yeah, what about the third point? So let's like talk about the third thing. Like we talk about showing off, we talk about comparison. Let's talk about algorithm, shall we? Like there's this thing called algorithm. And when I mention this term to my students, interestingly, they often have a very difficult time pronouncing the word. And I think it's a very tricky word to pronounce, right? Algorithm, algorithm. It's actually 演算法 in Chinese, and there are so many students who don't know this term yet. Um, it's still quite a like tricky or new, a challenging term for them, an English word for them. Algorithm, 演算法. So like there is this thing called algorithm uh, on on social media. Like how do you think algorithm affects us all, Steve?
I think it's really following with the stuff that we said. And because the social media company, they earn money by advertising, right? So that means they want us to be on all the time. So we keep clicking on those things that we think we want, or really glamorous, or things that's funny, or things like that, right? And it, and then they also learn that the this kind of things that we click on, for example, we click on dogs and cats, and they will show us more about dogs and cats. And then once in a while, they will show us picture that like dogs and cats being hurt by people, or like maybe it could be a fake video or something like that, or it could be real. But it's like all these weird things that's showing us, so we get emotionally attached. So
Yes.
we emotionally attach to the app, so we keep clicking on it, and that's the purpose. And it's in a way it's very unhealthy because, for example, people with depression, and there was a period of time I was kind of depressed,
Yes.
and you start first of all compare to other people. It's like, why my life is so miserable, right? And then the other part, yeah, the other part is showing all these weird negative stuff, sometimes negative stuff, like people, 打交, yeah, like they're fighting in a place, and then or people who有即係有時街撲親啊，即係 it's like things that doesn't really help your brain. You're not really learning a skill. So if you keep clicking on things that it doesn't really help you in the long run in terms of skill, in terms of learning about life. You're emotionally just entertaining your brain. In the long run, it's very unhealthy. Unfortunately, the algorithm of the app, they keep showing you that kind of stuff, so you can't get out of it in a way. So people are at night, like very late. They should go to bed, but they can't. They keep scrolling down,
Scrolling.
right? Yeah, exactly. Especially TikTok. I don't even use TikTok because TikTok. The special thing about TikTok is you try to get attention within 6 seconds, 6 to 10 seconds, and it's you just gotta do something that is awkward or like dance. Beautiful girl just danced, and she lip sync a music, but she's not singing. Like she's actually not that talented. Just other than having a great body or face, right? And you just keep watching that kind of thing, but you yourself is not spending time learning. So that and also your attention span, it used to a very short 6 seconds. A lot of time learning or listening to people, you gotta pay more attention, like to at least a minute, right? Sometimes I get boring sometimes when I speak, but I do have a point, and or call your coworker or your girlfriend, boyfriend, your kids sometimes, right? Your parents. It's like your brain is trained not to listen, not to spend that much effort to listen to people or learn from other people. That's also another negative about all these algorithms, social media. That's not really helping us in the long run.
Basically, what you just said was that it's actually the social media's platform's job or the board of directors' job. The board of directors is the leaders of the companies 係嗰啲 tech giants 咧，Facebook Instagram YouTube these are called tech giants，即係啲科技巨頭啦。And the board of directors, they are accountable to the shareholders of the company. And basically, their job is to boost the company's performance year by year, year after year after year after year. So it's basically their job to hook you. Like hooking is a really great word here. Like hook your attention or to trigger you. Okay? And triggering is also a great word because if you get triggered, you will your attention will stay on the app. Like basically what you said was just that, like the social media showing a cat being mistreated, mistreated 即係話俾人哋虐待啦，social media showing people fighting or showing something wrong or misinformation
或
intentionally
者
to
你有啲叫咩 offensive 嘅嘢，你覺得好 offensive 嘅嘢咯。
like showing offensive stuff to you, offensive posts to you, so that you get triggered. And that process actually involves a series of from what I know, like from what I read, we get dopamine hits. Like when we keep scrolling social media because we keep seeing something new, keep seeing something angering maybe, we see something rewarding, like anything that stimulates our brain, like that is rewarding to our brain. And that actually changes how the hormone is secreted in our brain, I think. And one of the hormones is basically dopamine. And dopamine hits, like we get dopamine hits like nonstop when we scroll social media. That's what happens when we, as you said, like scroll TikTok and scroll Instagram, stuff like that. And it's just a very toxic environment where we keep getting stimulated, like with all sorts of brainless stuff. So we may find ourselves to be less and less patient when we do something worthwhile. For example, when we are reading, when we are chatting to a friend, when we are listening to our family, we might find ourselves getting more and more short-tempered and like less and less patient. So basically, that's what you're
Exactly.
saying. Like,
Exactly. I
yeah,
heard a sad story, a couple sad story. Um, a mom, she's on her TikTok thing all day, and her kid is like sometimes like, "Mom, I'm hungry," and she just kind of ignore them or like give them like biscuit or something that's not healthy that she doesn't have to cook. I think she also have anxiety and depression, and it's a way for her to to get her mind off her feelings. So it's very unfortunate, I think.
So, if you guys want to know more about this, I think there's actually a documentary on Netflix about social media. I'll check out the name now. It's called Social Dilemma. It's got the social dilemma. It's a very famous uh, documentary about social media. If you're interested, you can check out the Netflix documentary because I think it's going to help you go through all the useful vocabulary items that we've gone through today. We've talked about how people creating a false identity for themselves, they creating a avatar for themselves, an alter ego. Like these are all very nice like words that you should learn up. Like scrolling, mindlessly scrolling, and we talked about it being a toxic environment.
I love
So
this word, toxic
yeah,
environment.
yeah, like social media creating a toxic environment, being a toxic environment for its users. By the way, in the documentary, I'm not sure if you've watched it. The documentary "Social Media, a Social Dilemma" actually mentioned that the term users are often applied to people who use drugs. They're not often applied to people who use apps. But after like Facebook was invented, after Instagram was invented, like these companies have called that customers users as if they were drug users. So that's a very interesting point that you might want to bear in mind.
By the way, I'm guilty as charged. I'm on my phone sometimes. Like I'm hooked on my games, so I'm guilty as charged. But recognizing it, 即係知道咧，就呢個最重要咯。It's like recognizing, there's an issue here. Recognizing your issue or recognizing this issue, I think is the most important thing.
So to be self-aware, I think that's the first step to quitting any bad habit. And like we have mentioned that it's a social media platform's job to trigger us. Like triggering is a very good word to learn. 去刺激我哋. That's not really like a perfect translation in Chinese.
或者
Trigger,
嗌交咯，you know how like on a comment你同人嗌交，it's like the worst thing in the world. I've done it. I have done it, and I've done it from time to time when I don't feel well that day. And but it's absolutely it's like nothing is going to be accomplished, right? If you fight with people online, it's like the worst thing in the world.
and we also mentioned that social media hooks our attention. Like its job is to hook our attention or get us hooked. Get us hooked 即係 get us addicted 啊，即係好似有個勾咁樣勾住咁樣樣。
Yeah,
So
addiction. I think I like that word, addiction. It's it's very common actually.
yeah, get us addicted and get us hooked, get us addicted. And we also mentioned the term dopamine hits. Like social media keeps giving us dopamine hits，即係令到我哋咧個荷爾蒙咧個快樂某種短暫嘅快樂嘅荷爾蒙咧不斷咁樣分泌。Like it changes the secretion of the hormones in our brain and it gets that dopamine secreted in our brain. So like we get hit by doses of dopamine constantly. 我哋講過呢樣嘢啦，咁你哋都可
Yeah.
以留意下，like these are like social media related health issues，一啲 health issues 嚟嘅，其實係mental health issue, and I think it has to do with physical health as well because when you get hooked online, you don't go out and work out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And Steve mentioned that it's very important to recognize our weaknesses and our possible addiction to it, like probable addiction to it, like many of us are addicted. Like recognizing it is the first step, and being self-aware is the first step. I mentioned that there's this documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. Have you heard of this like documentary, Steve?
Not this particular one.
Yeah, you can go check it out. It's a very good like documentary, I think. and it gets us addicted. It gets us all addicted. And like interestingly and ironically, I often ask my students when I test them on their English ability what their hobby is. And often they will tell me, I have no hobby. My only hobby is to watch your YouTube channel. And and I'm
That's
not
good.
sure.
Actually, that's good because you teach them a lot of things, right?
But the thing is, I don't know if I should feel happy or unhappy from that because I don't want them to keep watching me on social media because I want them to get alive, an actual life in reality. Get alive. That's again a very good phrase. 即係話我唔想佢哋咧咁即係咁得閒啊，即係好似講衰啲咁樣，即係話我想佢哋係真係喺現實裏邊去生活多啲啦。Rather than like keep watching me on social media and like there are so many students who tell me my only interest is watch YouTube. That's what they tell me, which is like not ideal, right? Like because like that shouldn't be your only hobby. That can be one of your hobbies. Like one of your hobbies can be watch videos on YouTube. That can work, but like your life shouldn't revolve around social media. Even for me, who works so much on social media, I see it as a job, and I see it as a job means that I get off time. I get off it, and I get I simply see it as a platform, a tool for work. I don't see it as something that like it's an ideal source of nutrients for my brain and an ideal source of entertainment. No, yeah. So I hope you don't see it as that way as well. Like even if you love watching my channel, which I really appreciate and am grateful for, please don't keep watching me on my channel or keep scrolling because you want to see my face. I think that's just really ironic because that's stopping you from learning the language, right?
Okay, so I just want to say, first of all, you are an amazing social media guru because you tell people don't get hooked onto your channel too much.
That is that is what we should all do because I don't think it's I don't think it's doing good to our business either. If you keep watching us online and you think that you are learning stuff just by listening to me, you are probably mistaken, right? Like actually you do have to pay to practice with
Well,
us
that's
to
also
learn.
mean you have done a great job. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. By the way, like speaking of learning and speaking of truly learning, you guys might want to sign up for our November 3 week speaking challenge. Like Steve and I will be there. He will be the one mainly teaching, and I'll be guiding him like through the teaching. I'll be also guiding you guys through your lesson. So it's going to be the 10th, the 17th, and the 24th of November. If you're interested in having a 2 hour practice with us every single week, like for 3 weeks straight, you might want to sign up for this challenge. And if you want to sign up for this challenge, please join us by signing up by WhatsApping us at 6627 0418. Or you can also scan the QR code on the poster and you can see our qualifications on the poster, like me being an educational YouTuber and Steve being a comedian and a public speaker and a performer. You might want to like check out. I think he has got his social media as well. Like you know that he's
Yeah.
very fluent. Even though in this lesson, in this episode I actually talked more than Steve. Like you would know that he's very fluent, and you join our lesson, and we can definitely help you practice, and we can definitely help you make your speech more concise, more impressive, and more persuasive as well. So if you do need to brush up your English so as to shine in the workplace, this is what you should go for, like signing up for the challenge. And also, you can see topics on the poster. I can actually show you guys the topics: hobbies, childhood, art, work, study, neighbors. We'll talk about all these things. And you also get notes, by the way, from us. Like we will also send you the notes. There's no recording of the lesson. We won't be recording the lesson, but it only costs almost 100, not 100, but $1,000, like $999 for one person to join. If you're joining with your friend, we can give a $50 discount for your friend so that you guys can join together. So that's like buddy discount. Yeah. So like please sign up soon because we are starting our challenge on the 10th. So places are running out and time is running out. Please do sign up if you are interested in joining our challenge to brush up your spoken English in 3 weeks. So anything to add? Any last words, Steve?
Uh, that's it. I think just care about your English first of all, right? And also your mental health. Take care of your mental health.
Take care. It's especially so important after the pandemic. We are all much more aware of the importance of staying mentally healthy. Okay. Yeah. So this is it for this episode, and I will see you guys next week. Hopefully, yeah. If we will see each other, I think we will. Yeah. So give this like episode a like if you can, and give us a review. Write us a review because I'm always so happy to see you guys review and tell me how we are doing and tell us that our podcast can help you. That's always so much encouragement for me and Steve, especially when Steve is new to this. And if you are interested in checking out Steve's show, you can as well. Like DM me, I can send you his social media handle so that you can check out his show as well. So I'll see you guys really soon. Bye.
Uh,